No, the problem here is time and again, Pete Hegseth is giving you operational tactical metrics of success that are not tied into an overall strategy and a strategic endgame, which we still do not have. It's clearly no longer regime change, but even regime degradation is not a strategy in itself because we don't know when it ends and when it is actually achieved. Some of the metrics are certainly relevant in terms of ballistic missiles taken out, the program itself being degraded, as well as the launches being destroyed. These are important metrics. But the other metrics to do with its armed forces, the Navy, don't really matter. What matters is to what extent can Iran still use the capacity that it has to disrupt global trade, especially around the Strait of Hormuz, and also keep on disrupting the airspace in the Gulf, because that will ultimately have an effect and shape the global economy. All the rest doesn't really matter because none of this really translates into an off-ramp that gets us to a new equilibrium of stability, which is ultimately what we want. We want to get to a point which is more stable, more secure, more prosperous than what we had 2 weeks ago. And I can't see any of that at the horizon.
But Andreas, I mean, Pete Hegseth did kind of mention it when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, which the whole world is looking at. He said we are not going to allow it to remain closed. So he didn't give a timeline for when the U.S. military could guarantee the safe passage of ships, but ultimately that is still his goal. So if I go back to your point, you know, the U.S. is still messaging and signaling that there is going to come a point in time not too far from now when there'll be no military activity from Iran. At least that's what they're saying.
I don't see it at all, actually. The fact is that the U.S. Navy at this point can't even get anywhere close to the Strait of Hormuz without being attacked, and that would be a massive risk for the U.S. Navy, considering that an aircraft carrier could be attacked, and we've seen one of them apparently attacked yesterday. So these are massive risks the U.S. Navy is not going to take. He's made a lot of contradictory statements. He also made a statement that, you know, it's actually open for business. You can go through the Strait of Hormuz. The only problem is you're going to get attacked, which basically in effect means it's not open for business. The problem isn't really the capability that Iran has. It's the trust, the faith that the global economy, that shipping companies and insurance companies have in actually making sure that freedom of navigation is guaranteed. At this point in time, the markets do not trust this to be the case. It doesn't matter if it's 5 missiles or 10 missiles or just 1 missile being shot at a single vessel. The ambiguity about this means that markets will not allow vessels to go through without having insurance in place, and insurers don't want to insure. Effectively, it's closed, and no strategy has been put in place to rectify this. And I haven't seen anything in the American planning that suggests they're thinking about it. Absolutely. There is no way that the Straits of Hormuz will get open or be open again by a unilateral declaration by Trump to say, mission accomplished, we're moving away, that's the end of the war. Iran will dictate the terms. Iran will say how and when the Straits will be opened up. And we're seeing already loads of other states making deals bilaterally with Iran to get their vessels through. So from India, Pakistan, Turkey, the Gulf states are negotiating as well. I think this will be probably the way forward, where the Americans will be at the end of a long queue of countries who will already have arrangements with Iran to open the strait up. The strait will unlikely open up for everyone at the same time.